Hi, my name's Scott Mabb. I am the firstborn son of Catherine Schroeder and a survivor of the Waco massacre. I'm here today to talk about my experiences, the life that I lived for 3 years prior to the event that took place on February 28th. Give people a perspective they may not have heard before. I'm originally a military brat. My father was Air Force. My mother was Air Force, my stepmother was Air Force. I later then served in the Air Force myself. So I moved around a lot. Born in Alaska, 2 years later moved to Nebraska. 2 years after that moved to Florida after my parents had divorced. My mother remarried to Michael Schroeder. We were there for about 3 years, and my mother and Mike met some Branch Davidians and decided to move out to Waco, Texas to find out what was being taught there, to listen and learn. At the time of us moving here, I was 8 years old. I was raised in a Catholic or / Christian manner based on the Bible. My grandmother was a very devout Bible believer. So I already had a background in Christian morals, ethics, and stuff like that. I was familiar with the Sunday school stories of the Bible, the individuals like Noah and Moses and such. When I got here, it was just an extension of that. So it wasn't too much of an adjustment to go from outside of Waco life into Waco life for me. As I said, I moved around a lot being a military brat. So it was just to me, it felt like another phase of my life. It was a little different, don't get me wrong. It was definitely different. We didn't have electricity. We didn't have running water for toilets. The community was structured differently than in the outside world. Very much more community-minded, family-minded. We were parts of a machine that all worked together and ran smoothly. At 8 years old when I got here, I quickly became adjusted to it because it was natural for me. We played like kids, any normal thing that you would have as a child. Parents disciplining you if you do something wrong. Meal times at a structured time of day. But when we were off responsibility, when we didn't have anything that we were being required to do, we were outside playing in the weeds, throwing balls around, exploring the property. Just being your kids, everyday normal kid life. We did participate in David's sermons. Most often if it was a late night sermon, it was the hopes of staying awake long enough so that we could watch the movie he might play afterwards. Sometimes you stayed awake and then he didn't play a movie and we were a little upset. But it was a fairly normal childhood. I mean, there was a few differences between being here and being elsewhere. We participated in everything, though, as the kids. Even though we weren't privy to certain aspects of the community as children, we were definitely kept to ourselves. The nature of the community was to be celibate, and therefore men and women were kept separate. We did not sleep in the same room with our dad. He slept upstairs somewhere. We slept in the room with our mom. But other than that, we interacted all the time, day to day. We saw Mike. The first thing we did was go, "Where's Mike at?" Trying to find out where he is. He was always busy, being the workaholic and great ethics person that he was. And I'm going to get emotional right there. Excuse me. It was normal every day-to-day life. We ran around, we played, we were taught the things that you would normally expect children to be taught. Say please and thank you, be respectful of your elders, follow the rules for the most part. As I teach my kids nowadays, rule number 1 is follow the rules. So we definitely had a fairly normal childhood.